Just a moment, you chaps. I'm speaking to you on behalf of all the chief instructors in the Air Force. We're making a film on the subject of preventable flying accidents. We want you to help us make it. You all know the golden rules of flying. If you all kept to them, there'd be no need for this film. Well, I'll say no more about that, except that 90% of you do keep to the rules. We want you all to help to make it 100%. Our camera will go with some of you and will record faithfully some of the factors that make good flying safe flying, so that your example on the screen may be followed by all the others who will see this film. All right, off you go. Flying calls for care as well as courage. Time spent in learning the details of your aircraft may one day save your life. Don't imagine that a daily inspection alone makes your aircraft airworthy. Only maintenance does that. You can help by observation, good sense, and reporting to ground crew. If the aircraft goes badly, tell the ground crew about it. If it goes well, don't forget to thank them for it. Method takes time, but even that is better than taking a toss. For example, keep a constant eye on the weather. Know what it's going to do. Weather sense is a vital part of the good pilot's makeup. Look well to your goggles. They're provided to protect your eyes and to see through. It's up to you to keep them clean. Judgment depends very much on your eyes. This also applies to windscreens and cabin windows. Always check petrol and oil. Ground crews are most dependable as a rule, and it's only once in a while you will be let down by unexpected petrol shortage. But once may be enough. When engine running, have good and constant communication with your ground crew. Give your full attention to the job. An accident taking a second to happen may take years to forget. Learn all you can about handling your engine, both on the ground and in the air. Use engine sense. When taxiing, look often over each side of the cockpit and even to the rear when you can. Don't linger, but make absolutely sure that everything is all clear. Now I want you to come on my side of the fence and look at this question of preventable accidents from the angle of the service. You probably think I'm making a fuss over nothing. Buckled undercart can soon be put right. But have you ever thought what repairing a buckled undercart costs in terms of manpower, money power, and time power? Commodities that could be used for building fighters and bombers for the squadrons.
No, sir. Can't say I have, sir.
Well, open your eyes and look what your one piece of stupidity costs. Men who should be putting aircraft in the air are picking them up off the ground. Instead of transporting new aircraft, lorries, petrol, tires, and men's time are being used to carry your crashed aircraft. And maintenance units have to spend the time of hundreds of men making your aircraft airworthy again. Don't you think they have something better to do?
Yes, sir. Of course.
They certainly have. Their job is to maintain airworthy aircraft, not to waste their time repairing your needless crashes. What you fellows have to learn is air sense. You've all got common sense, or you wouldn't be in the Air Force. We can't teach you air sense. What we can teach you, and what you can learn, is a set of rules which will induce air sense.
I thought I had plenty of room to take off, sir.
Famous last words, Saunders. We'll add your name to the list. You're the 13th in this school who said that. Curiously enough, you're one of the lucky ones.
Lucky, sir. I've had 3 weeks in hospital.
But you are alive, Saunders.
I know, but it was a near thing, sir.
But why, in the name of common sense, don't you... Look out! Who the hell? Flight!
Yes, sir. That was L.A.C. Parker in 95, sir. That was.
Parker? He was just passing out, wasn't he?
I should imagine he's passed right out, sir.
Come in. Well?
Must have been coming in without looking, sir. Nearly collided with another fellow 100 foot up. Must have got the wind up because he puts her nose up and turns and makes straight for the hangar. How he missed it, I can't think. Then he stalled. He's just about breathing, I suppose. The aircraft's written off, sir, I'm sorry to say.
Another one who didn't look out. You know, thinking is easier done on the ground. Imaginary accidents harm nobody. So think shop and talk shop. If you'd imagined what might happen if you lost your way, you'd have been prepared for the emergency and known beforehand what to do.
Well, sir, mid-forecast was okay, but the weather closed in and, well, I went on a bit, hoping to find a pinpoint when it cleared up.
Which it didn't.
No, sir.
Even then, you should have turned back.
Yes, sir. Oh, I couldn't do that, sir.
Well, why not? You're told to turn back if lost.
Well, you see, sir, the chaps would have thought me yellow. If only I'd had the slightest bit of luck, everything would have been okay.
But you went on and on. Forgot to look at your petrol gauge, ran out of juice, force landed, crashed a good aircraft, and nearly broke your neck.
Yes.
Open confession's good for the soul. A number of preventable accidents are caused by people who are more afraid of being thought yellow than they are keen to become good pilots.
Oh, I'm keen, sir.
Yes, I know you are. You're all keen. But for the sake of your own keenness, stick to the rules. You've plenty of time to show your courage when you're fully operational. Then you will take risks against the enemy. It's just damn silly to take unnecessary risks while you're in training. At this EFTS, they haven't damaged an aircraft for months. Practically always, there's only one reason why there should be any aircraft damaged at an EFTS, and that is disobedience by some individual to flying regulations. Flying, good flying, is a safe and very pleasant pursuit. But this training is only a stepping stone for you to become a fully qualified pilot in an operational squadron. Keep that goal in your mind and stick to the rules. I've asked you fellas to see this film because you helped to make it. I hope you've enjoyed seeing yourselves on the screen. But there are some aspects of this preventable accident question which are impossible to photograph. You can photograph a man's head. You can even photograph a man's brain. But you can't photograph his mind. Everything depends upon the state of mind, the attitude you take towards a problem, what you as an individual think about it. For example, taxiing accidents. Now, I think all these are definitely preventable. What do you think? Smith? No? I see you've got something on your mind, Taylor. Let's hear it.
Well, sir, most of us have never had an accident, and we may never have one. And an accident is something that happens to you before you know where you are, and you can't very well foresee an accident so that you can prevent it, can you, sir?
That's just what you can do. Foresee. Foresee all the possibilities of accident, and you'll never experience one, because you will take all the precautions to prevent it. Now, imagine any one of you fellas has just landed and is about to taxi. What does a sensible chap do? At once he thinks about the job in hand, to taxi in.
I may run into something. Anything ahead? No. Port? No. Starboard? Oh yes, aircraft just landed. What will he do? Good, waiting for me. No. Wind? Edge around a bit. Rev her up, off we go. Just a moment, what's that crossing the tarmac? Looks like a petrol lorry. He's across. All right to port. All right to starboard. All clear behind. Okay.
Off he goes, gently, smoothly, safely.
Took him a long time.
It only took him 30 seconds longer to make sure he had a clear run. Only half a minute longer to foresee possibilities, to anticipate trouble if there was any about.
The windsock showed a pretty high wind, sir. Shouldn't he have had ground staff on his wingtip?
Good work, Wilson. As a matter of fact, it was fresh, but not too strong. All right for a sensible pilot, so he was okay on that score.
And besides, sir, you'd have to wait quite a long time for one of the ground crew to give him a hand. I've had some.
Yes, I saw you.
Me, sir?
You had a near thing last week, Johnson.
Well, I did manage it, sir.
More luck than judgment. Tell the course what happened.
Well, I was coming in behind another chap, a new fella, I forget his name. He landed, so did I. There was a strongish wind. It was also rather gusty. I saw the ground crew run out to help him taxi in.
didn't appear to be having any trouble in keeping the aircraft straight, so I thought I'd have a shot. Anyway, I felt a bit of a fool sitting out there waiting for someone to come out and lead me in. Besides, had a date.
So you set off. A gust of wind caught your tail and swung you round. You gave her full throttle and used hard opposite rudder. No good. You opened your throttle a bit more. By this time you were roaring along. You went up on one wheel, your wing almost scraped the ground, and just as the flight commander and I were waiting for it, by sheer luck she righted herself. Somehow or other you managed to taxi the remainder of the way in. Having made one boob, you should have learnt your lesson and waited for someone to come and help you.
Well, sir, I did manage it.
In one way, it's a pity you did.
Good Lord, sir, why?
Now you'll be tempted to do it again. And again until you finally bend one.
I see the point, sir.
I hope you will. But it's not easy to get rid of a bad habit. Bad habits on the ground and in the air are the biggest source of the preventable type of accident. They grow on you. You may not know you've got them until one day a bad habit causes you to crash an aircraft.
A bit tough, sir, if you don't know that you've got bad habits.
If you always stick to flying regulations and instructions, you'll never acquire bad habits. Or if you've got them, you'll be able to get rid of them.
It isn't always easy to go strictly according to the book, is it, sir?
When you've had a couple of thousand hours experience, I might agree with you. But you fellows are training. Flying regulations and instructions are designed to prevent and will prevent you having accidents. Got it?
Yes, sir. But how about those accidents where it's the other chap's fault?
Such as?
Well, I had a near one the other day, sir. I was just coming into land when suddenly another aircraft shot under me. True, the rule says the chap at the lower altitude has the right of way. But it was such a blatant piece of bad flying, an infringement of circuit rules, that I held on. And we landed almost together. Now, if anything had happened, sir, it would have been his fault, wouldn't it?
Well, in the first place, yes. But two wrongs don't make a right. If he were BF enough to shoot under you, why should you be fool enough to risk a collision in the air by trying to beat him to it on the landing? It simply doesn't make sense. But you have given us a good example of what I mean by attitude of mind. From what you've said, I should imagine that your attitude of mind was...
I'm going to make a very good landing. Everything under control. What was that? The ruddy fool. He can see I'm all set for a landing, and I jolly well am going to land.
The extraordinary thing is that you're not both now seated on a fleecy cloud arguing the matter out in between twanging your harps.
I see the point, sir, but we don't all think alike.
Nobody wants you to. You're not in the Luftwaffe. You chaps are not machine trained. You're in the Royal Air Force. But in this early stage in your careers, when you're learning, the sensible attitude of mind you should all adopt is obedience, absolute and unquestioning, to flying regulations and instructions. When you've completed your training, completed all the stages, then we shall expect to see your individuality blossom out. But you will become an infinitely better individual because you have been absolutely obedient in your training days to the golden rules of flying. Having torn off that strip, let's have another look at this film, shall we? You ready, Henry?
All ready, sir.
Right. Shoot. This is the beginning of that chain of events that prevents aircraft being broken unnecessarily. Preparation for flight. Now, Bill Neville here isn't a star pupil. He's an ordinary kind of bloke. But he will become a damn good pilot because he has been taught and got it well in his head that thorough preparation for a flight is more than half the reason for safe flying. It's the detail that counts. He's got the Met forecast all right, but remembers that he was told that a Met forecast is a guide to the weather, not the gospel truth. It's only a little thing, but a blunt pencil makes messages and reports meaningless. Better have two to make sure things, Bill. Watch? Yes, that's okay. Map? Yes? Good. All set. Feeling comfortable and ready for anything. Even Charlie.
Hello, Bill. All set?
Okay, Charlie.
What's the time? My watch has come.
You can't go up without a watch.
Oh, I'd easily be able to judge the time by the amount of petrol I've used.
What are you doing?
My first cross-country.
Got your track worked out?
Yeah, let me show you.
You had it checked?
Yes, rather. Let me see. Where are we? Oh, damn, that's the wrong section. Ah, here we are.
You better be quicker when you go up or you'll get lost.
Now, we're here. I make for Bideford, that's there. That's the end of the first leg.
Now, if you've got any sense, you rub out all these old tracks. What's your ETA for the first leg?
Oh, damn. What's the time?
08:25.
Well, if I leave here in 5 minutes, that'll make it 0830. Bideford's about 80 miles. And if I do about 110, that'll be, let me see. What do you make it?
Don't ask me, fathead. What does your computer say?
You know, I never thought of that.
Come on, you two. Hurry up. Your engines will be overheating.
Coming, Clyde.
All right, sir.
Sorry, Bill. Thanks. Damn it, I nearly forgot it.
Something else you've forgotten, too.
Oh, Bill, is there?
Don't forget I lent you 5 bob last night.
I'll pay it to you when I get back. Don't worry.
That's what's worrying me. Will you get back?
Don't imagine for a moment that Charlie is a bad pilot. But if only Charlie would prepare himself for a flight carefully, get his mind in proper trim for the job to be done, he'd save himself, his instructors, and his fellow pupils an awful lot of worry. He'd become a better pilot and a very much more reliable friend. Yes, he got back all right. But next time, you'd better get that 5 bob from him, Bill. Now. Pupils like Charlie Sutton are similar to the curate's egg, good in parts. Although Charlie made such a mess of his flight preparation, once he's in the cockpit, he does everything according to the book of rules. Checks all instruments, compass, altimeter, gyro, and remembers to ask himself, is the petrol on, trim, mixture, fuel? Got that all right. And he remembers to look out before starting off. Sutton is not in a hurry now. He's master of the aircraft and master of himself. You can easily define his attitude of mind. And there are hundreds like him, fellows who will become good pilots. Put them in an aircraft and they'll fly it, and fly it well. The trouble is they're careless in preparation, thoughtless about detail, and forgetfully, I don't think willfully, but forgetfully disobedient to flying regulations, circuit rules, and procedure. They are the fellows who, sure as fate, will experience a crash that need never have occurred, a tomfool pileup. All good films have a trailer. You know the kind of thing I mean, stupendous attraction, smash hit, with cuts from the film itself. We had a trailer made, but decided to put it on at the end, just to be different. It's entitled, ready, Henry?
All ready, sir.
Entitled, These Were Their Last Words.
I thought I had plenty of room to take off.
I thought there was no need to bother about a map forecast.
We don't need a map for that little bit.
I think we've got enough petrol to make it. Oh, hell, let's have a crack at it.
By gad, I forgot to set the altimeter.
These last words have become famous, but their speakers have just faded away. The majority of you fellows will, I know, make these words your guiding motto throughout your training. Obedience to flying regulations is the safest and quickest way to your next step up the ladder towards the height of every pupil's ambition. Flying in fighter or bomber, sweeping the skies of the world clean of the Nazi horde. The end. Just one more word. Stick to the rules. Good luck.